Jiedel, do more story time. Jiedel, we need more story time. Jiedel, where is the story time? Guys, I've told a lot of stories on this channel, okay? You know, eventually I'm gonna run out of stories until I keep making new ones, but I haven't put out a story time in quite a while now, but I thought today, I was like, you know what'd be a good story time? I used to coach Jesse and Mitchell, otherwise known as Jesser in Mob City. Our team was lit. Also, sorry if the sound quality is kind of bad in here. Ty just moved his bed out of the room because he's getting ready to leave soon, and like there's like a new echo in the room, so really sorry about that if the audio quality isn't that good this video. My bad. So it all starts when Jesse's in 7th grade and I was in 11th grade. I was his coach, and honestly, we're just gonna skip over this season. Our team was really bad. I also was just not a good coach. I was definitely a fun coach to play for because we scrimmaged a lot during practice, and we just, in general, we had a good time, but we were bad and we lost in the first round of the playoffs. That's that. Next offseason, I am determined to be a great coach. So I assemble a coaching staff. I get my boy Kyle and my friend Jason. Jason, honestly, at the time, knew nothing about basketball, but Kyle, kind of more of my X's and O's coach. Jason's more of my player relations coach, if you know what I'm saying. Like, Jason's there to keep the team happy, Kyle's there to help me with the X's and O's, and I'm there to just be me. So the way this league worked, which is really interesting, was the coaches actually drafted the kids, and there was like a quote-unquote scouting combine. Like, the kids would do like a 2v2, you know, like little cone drills and stuff, and you would draft them. So I win the lottery and I get the first pick, and everyone, all the coaches are like, well, James, you have Jesse, he's a beast. You have to draft your own kid, since like every other coach is a parent, so they draft their own kid. Or if it's like a high schooler like me at the time, you would draft like your younger brother. So I was like, well, if I get the #1 pick, it's not fair, I have to use it on my younger brother. Like, I won the lottery. I was like, so if I spend this pick on Jesse, can I guarantee get Mitchell? No one knew who Mitchell was, so they were like, yeah, sure, we don't care. Pick up Mitchell. I have like 2 of the top 5 players in the league, because literally Jesse used to just be only focused on basketball. This is before he did any YouTube stuff, so he was a beast in 8th grade. He dominated this league, not gonna lie. Mitchell, also a complete beast. Then we draft this boy named Kevin. Kevin, if you're out there watching, I appreciate you. You were a monster. Then we draft his friend Ted, because all it said on his player notes was, would like to play with Kevin, and we were like, gotta keep the players happy. Draft Kevin's friend Ted. Ted turns out to be a beast. Then we draft a few more guys. The team was set. It was a great team. We were super happy about it. But the problem was, this is the 8th grade and up league. Now, there wasn't that many other high schoolers playing, but like, I didn't want to draft any high schoolers because I was like, if they go to the same school as me, they're probably not going to want to listen to me as a coach, you know, so I'm just not going to draft any high school players. And pretty much every coach didn't want to draft the high school players because they didn't think they'd like mesh well with the 8th graders, because those are middle schoolers. So this one kid who was in community college, whose younger brother he was coaching, he drafted every high school player. Their team was like 8 high schoolers, whereas every other team was a middle school team. I bet you know what happens with that team, but we'll get back to them. The first regular season game we lose because we're missing Jesse. He comes back midway through the second game from, I think, like his travel team game, and we win. And honestly, the regular season was very up and down. We were a team that kept alternating wins and losses like over and over again. We spent the first half of the season, Kyle and I, coming up with like offensive game plans, but honestly, like, I'm sure all of you who've played basketball know that when you seem to run plays in like rec leagues, the plays just don't work. Like, pick and rolls for whatever reason in rec leagues just seem to not be effective. So Kyle and I literally were just like, you know what? We're just gonna practice our defense all game because we're gonna score enough points with Jesse and Mitchell to win if we can defend. So every single practice for like the second half of the season going forward, all we did was practice our 1-3-1 zone. Now, we were inspired by, I think, University of Michigan was running it that season, and they were killing it that year. I think that's when they had Trey Burke. Could be wrong about that, but they were killing it. It was Kyle's idea. He said, let's try out this 1-3-1 zone. I think he said he also liked using it in 2K. Yo, the 1-3-1, they had to take it out of 2K because it was so good. So the thing about the 1-3-1 zone, just to get a little X's and O's, its weakness is the corner 3. So obviously in the NBA, that's not gonna work because the corner 3 is like one of the best shots in the NBA. But in youth leagues, kids are just not good at hitting corner 3s. And you gotta remember too, this is like 5 years ago. This is before that 3-point revolution that we've seen basketball undergo, so people weren't practicing the 3-point shot as much. So I was okay giving up a corner 3. Our defense was solid. Every game, we held the opponent to like 35 points. We actually had the best defense in the league, better than the all high school team. And yes, they went undefeated. But our team stopped being rocky. It was like the 8th or 9th game, we were playing a team, and they ran a 2-3 zone, but they had no big men, which was a disaster for them. So every single play, we ran Jesse in the high post, gave him the ball. We would literally just lob him the ball in the high post, and he would either drive and score or kick out. We beat that team by like 30 points. It was filthy, it was disgusting, it was a massacre. And that's kind of when our team finally clicked. Like, this is it, you know, we finished the regular season like 6-4 or 5-5, but our team really clicked after that game because the ball movement was so good after we eradicated the other team's zone. Now, before I get to the playoffs, I just want to talk about practice. really our practices were a lot of fun, even though like we just practiced our 1-3-1 zone. Literally the whole time was just practicing this zone. Like our defense was tight, but we always tried to make it fun. One of our players always defended with his arms out like this instead of putting them up in the air like that, like normal good defending basketball. So one time Kyle brought his speaker to practice and we played the song "Put Your Hands in the Air" just to have fun, lighten the practices. Our team had such good chemistry. Everyone on the team loved each other. It was great. We used to scrimmage against another team that would practice the same time against us, and we would always blow them out of the water. And our friends coached that team, so sorry Jake and Tyler if you're watching this. We killed y'all many times. The one thing about practice though, that from a coaching perspective, every time it ended, Jesse and Mitchell would make their life goal to steal Kyle's phone and hide it. And I think one time it was either his shoe or his phone. They literally got stuck on the rim and we had to figure out a way to get it down. Mitchell and Jesse back in their youth were the biggest goofball tandem I have ever seen. So yeah, there's not that many like super specific memories I remember about practice. I'm sure after this video, Jason and Kyle will message me and tell me like, bro, you missed this. Like, how could you miss this? But just what it is. So then comes the playoffs, and we're in full gear now. We just had that game where we eviscerated the other team. Our team is completely clicking. First playoff game, we win by like 30 points, like completely dominate. Our next game though is against the undefeated high school team. They're 10-0, so they're big favorites in this game. But back when I used to play soccer as a kid, my first year, my team was also like 5-5, and we beat the undefeated team in the playoffs that year. That was also the same year the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl when they were undefeated. So I'm no stranger to defeating the undefeated. I'm a Giants fan. It's what we do. People don't know this, but back in the 80s or 90s, the Broncos had a 13-0 team, lost to the Giants in the regular season. So I'm a big fan of ending undefeated streaks. It's what I do, my speciality. So you know that practice before that game, we delivered a great speech about the Giants and how they defeated the undefeated Patriots. And I was like, honestly guys, we have nothing to be afraid of. The game starts, one of our players named Ron, I don't think he had scored a single point the whole season. He scores 8 straight points off mid-range jump shots from driving kicks. Literally this kid, we've been practicing his mid-range all season. He was really good in practice. He never seemed to make it in a game, but then if practice paid off, he scores 8 straight points. We get off to like a 10-2 lead to start this game. And then like one of their players takes like a super high arching 3 and it hits some like rope that was hanging from the ceiling, so it like made the ball come back into play. And their coach was like, we have to postpone the game, we have to restart the game, this is ridiculous, how can we play in these conditions? And it's like, bro, we're playing on the same court. Like, it's not only your team that's affected by a rope that your player tried to Dirk Nowitzki air fly into the air and hit it. Like, so the game starts to get close, but Jesse, the beast of an 8th grader, puts the team on his back, scores like 30 points against this high school team, and we win by like 15 or so. Like, it actually stopped being close because we kind of crushed their spirit. The other thing too is we purposely didn't use our zone against them that second game because we didn't want them to know about it. They were not ready for the 1-3-1 zone. Most times in youth leagues, teams run man or 2-3 because they're the easiest, but the 1-3-1, like, it takes a long time to practice and get it down perfect, but when you do, you can lock down like any team, and you can even prevent the corner 3 from happening. Not that they're gonna hit it at that level of play, but you can stop it from happening. So our team beats the undefeated team. We're going to the championship team against another team that we didn't beat them in the regular season, but every one of our games was close. And honestly, I felt like we were gonna win. I felt very confident. I think they were gonna score in our zone, but they figured out a way to beat our zone. Now this might be my biggest mistake as a coach. It's something me and my other coaches debated the whole game. So they kept running a high screen against our ball pressure player in the 1-3-1, and I kept having our player go over it because I didn't want them to shoot the 3, but my other coaches wanted them to go under it. Something we kind of went back and forth on all game. No one had ever screened our ball handler like that, so I wasn't ready. And it was really, looking back, I don't know if I regret going over the screens because the kid who we were trying to stop, he did have like 3 3-pointers that game, and he had a 4-point play on an and 1 3-pointer. That kid, I don't know his name, he balled out against us. Only respect to him for his effort because that was actually pretty impressive, not gonna lie. So the game comes down, it's 40-39. That's pretty much all you need to know. Our ball with like 12 seconds left. Jesse drives into the lane, gets into the paint, gets fouled, but it's not a shooting foul. They call a reach in, but Jesse was like 3 feet away from their basket. It's like, what do you think he was doing in the paint with like no time on the clock? You think he's just sitting there? Obviously he's going for a shot. We don't get the free throws. So we inbound the ball, goes to Ted. Quick note about Ted, this kid was like 5'4", one of the shorter kids in the whole league. He averaged like 6 blocks a game. I don't know how. He was a monster. That's all you need to know. However, Ted's weakness, layups. Not a good scorer. Honestly, he was kind of like Dennis Rodman without the height. Like, he was just a beast, honestly. So we run an inbounds play. Ted is wide open under the hoop. No one's within 5 feet of him. He blows the layup, gets the rebound, blows the layup again. Buzzer sounds, we lose by 1. Honestly, as a coach, when you feel like you've gotten your team a wide open layup at the buzzer, I feel like I did my part. Now, I don't want to blame anybody, but it is what it is. We lost the game. When you play basketball, you never want to actually think about like that one moment, because if you think about it, had we scored on some other play earlier in the game, we would have won. So, you know, you can never blame somebody for a last second miss. Honestly, I truly believe that. I hate the narrative in basketball about, is he clutch? Is he not clutch? You don't need to be clutch if you're winning the game by 10 in the 4th quarter. I feel like as basketball fans, a lot of times we over glorify game-winning shots and stuff, when really that's not what basketball is about. It's about the full 48 minutes. It's not really about the last 10 seconds. That's just, as a coach, I can say that. So we lose the game. It was actually kind of funny. My friend Marty, he was driving by and he started doing this weird laughing thing that he always does, but I was really sad and dejected at the time because I just lost the championship, so I was really pissed off about him. So it's funny because he messaged me the other day about it. He's like, yo, I remember when I did that, and I was like, yeah. So that happened. I was pretty sad. I remember we get into the car and Champion by Kanye starts playing, and I was like, not right now. I turned that off, and my dad's like, where do you want to go to dinner? And I was like, I don't deserve dinner tonight, because I was so upset at myself because I kept thinking about, should we go under the screen? Should we go over it? Like, I was thinking about that for a long time. To this day, it's honestly hard to say. You know, like, the kid catches fire, we lose that way. If he bricks all his shots, we win that way. It almost doesn't even come down to our decision making at that point, you know what I mean? So you can't dwell on something like that. It was a great season though. Like, to lose the championship game by 1 point and play that hard, it was great. We also sent the most All-Stars to the league. We sent Jesse, Kevin, Mitchell, and Ted to the All-Star game. Quick photo. It's always a cool feeling to know the other coaches voted for you to be an All-Star coach, so I really enjoyed that. I saw one of Jesse's fan pages post this photo on Insta of me, Jesse, and my uncle with the caption, rare photo of Jesse's dad. That's not our dad. I know our dad is a mysterious man. He never seems to be in our videos. He asked not to be, so he's not in them. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I know this wasn't probably the funniest story. It's just kind of the story of our team. Now that I think about it, I could probably tell stories about like basketball teams that I played on when I first started playing, or soccer teams that I started playing on when I was a little kid. I could probably go do some season stories. Always down to post more story times. I love doing story times, to be honest with you. Maybe some stories from my intramural leagues. They weren't that funny, but I could talk about the injury that basically ruined my basketball playing career. All I'm gonna say is I was averaging 25 points freshman year, and everything went downhill after my injury. I blame Rutgers. Rutgers medical staff on Livingston campus, very poor. But that's a story for another time, guys. I hope you like this. If you did enjoy it, you can check out the whole Storytime playlist over here with lots of other stories. If you didn't like this, you can check out a random video over here. Alright guys, for real though, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.